Chicago. A criminal mastermind called Overlord held our city in his terrifying grip. Ordinary cops were losing the battle against Overlord's super freaks and mutants. Then, a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have the Dragon.
Alrighty. It's episode 1.5. It's a special edition of the Savage FINcast. I'm your host right now, taking over for Jim Purcell, who could not make it today. I'm Craig Olson, a Savage Dragon fan for many years now. With me today, I have Adam Pruitt, who's an indie comic creator. He's been lettering the Vanguard mini. He's written and illustrated a critically acclaimed comic called Invisible Sam. Adam, if you want to say a few words.
You've heard of that?
Of course.
Sweet. I'm Adam. Hi.
Hi, Adam. Next up, we have a guy we've been trying to get on the show for a while. He's got the largest collection of Larsen original art other than Erik himself. He also does a monthly interview with Erik after each new issue of Savage Dragon over at comicbook.com, all the way from the UK where it's 3:19 in the morning. Gavin Higginbotham. How you doing, Gavin?
I'm doing all right.
You awake there?
Just about, yeah. Well, don't forget my name right.
Did you say Higginbotham?
Yeah, no.
All right,
Most people don't. It's good. Right on.
Thanks for being on. How you feeling? You awake? You good to go? No? Yes? Are you awake out there?
Yeah, I think so. I'll get through. It'll be fine.
All right. And lastly, we have a very special guest who doesn't need any kind of special intro. The creator of Savage Dragon and the guy that we talk about every month, Erik Larsen. How you doing, Erik?
I'm doing quite well, thanks.
Thanks for being with us.
You're quite welcome, guys.
What time is it over on the West Coast right now?
We're looking at it's about 7:21. So expect the dinner bell to ring at any point during the middle of this, and I'll be like, "Oh, gotta go, guys."
All right, so we gotta get
really important came up.
So, are you working right now, or what do you work on?
Allegedly, so yeah. I'm supposed to. I just sent pages off to Tom Orzechowski, and I've scripted a few of the pages, and I'm supposed to be scripting the rest of the pages. And you guys are helping me procrastinate. So
awesome.
Sweet.
Initially, this was a kind of a special edition. We wanted to kind of get together and talk about our favorite Savage Dragon issues. We already discussed the last issue that came out, and next month we'll discuss, the Bin Laden issue that we're all waiting for. But today we did notice the news of the Ultimate Collection hardcover, which we're all excited about. So we're hoping that you could kind of tell us more.
Yeah, I'm excited about that myself. Wanting to do these for quite some time, and I don't know why we haven't. Other than we're just really, really lazy. But the idea here is to get a 12-issue run of Savage Dragon, or 12 issues thereabouts, and put them all into a book. And essentially we're doing the expanded versions of, so anything that's been added to any of the trades will be included in there, and relevant backups will be included in there. But there's some irrelevant ones and weird pinups and stuff like that, which will just be okay. We don't need this. But for the most part, we're going to try to make it as complete and comprehensive as we can. But if you start shoving in all the issues of Freak Force and all the Super Patriot and all that stuff, eventually Dragon really would just get pushed out of his own book really quick, and it would be really heavy with that kind of stuff in the early volumes, and then as those things died off, it would be less so in later ones. So I'm kind of sticking fairly Dragon-centric.
Cool.
So
I see the blurb about, you have extras, the sketches and behind-the-scenes material. Is that going to be new stuff or the same stuff that was in the original collections?
It'll be as much stuff as we can round up. I think there's probably some more stuff that you haven't seen. Generally, it's newer, better scans of some of the stuff that you have seen. But I'm not going to be like drawing new stuff and pretending it's old stuff either, which seems a little ridiculous. Here's my concept sketch of whatever. But there is some things in there that are like, okay, nobody's seen this before. I'm also kind of curious how much I can get away with, because I kind of like to run like the Dragon Superman drawing that I did as a 19-year-old, just because I think it's cool. But it's kind of weird, and I don't know that if DC's going to be like, wait a minute, that's not cool, or if I can just go, no, it's totally cool. No.
So you didn't lose everything? You still have some of the old stuff from your teenager?
That particular thing is I did this drawing because at that point I was making all my own comics for myself and all that, and really nothing left my hands, except that I'd done this huge cover thinking, all these Treasury editions are coming out. I'm going to do this cool Treasury edition. And I drew this big old cover, and that's when I ran out of paper that was that big. And I was like, all I've got is this one drawing, and I don't have the technology at that point of making a big comic and stapling it and everything else. So I actually had given it to my grandparents. And so it ended up at their place, and when my house burned down, it was one of the few surviving early art that I had done. And so here it is. It's still around, and at this point, I have that and the cover that Alex Ross painted over my pencils. Those are like the only art I have of my own stuff that's framed in my house, because it's kind of this cool. Here's the kid's dream of one day having his character meet Superman, and here's the reality. And they're both color pieces, and they're both roughly the same size. So it's kind of a neat little thing.
I'm surprised you didn't put that in your Superman Savage Dragon one-shot.
There really wasn't a good place to put it. There weren't really extra pages in that.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's the first I've heard of that. I'd love to see that.
It's pretty bad.
It's still cool to see it before and after.
It's just like, yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff that doesn't make the cut is, oh man, there's some really, really embarrassing stuff that I don't know that this laundry needs to be aired kind of thing. It's just the scenes that end up on the cutting room floor, and there are tons of it. I've got like a stack of started pages that's probably 3 feet tall. That's just various pages that started in scenes that just didn't go anywhere, and I didn't end up using them, whatever. And some of it is pretty much blackmail material. It's so bad that you be like, oh my god, I can't believe. There was a conversation between Dragon and Debbie that I was going to run, and it was like rereading it now. It's like, oh my god, this is so terrible. It's so embarrassing and so bad. And it worked much better as a silence thing that was in the one of the trades.
I do remember seeing you at one of the cons, and I forget what issue it is. It's an issue with Malcolm when he came back, and the first splash page is like it's like Savage Dragon. It's like Dragon reading his own comic with Malcolm and Angel on one side, and I remember there was like erasure marks on Malcolm's face, and you're like, yeah, I was gonna try giving him like a teenage mustache and see how that looked, and you ultimately scratched it because it just looked, I guess, ridiculous to you or something.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. There really is just tons and tons of stuff that just didn't make it for whatever reason. Some of it was continuity wise, and some of it just various things. Like I had the sequence where Dragon grows his hand back in issue, was it 8? I think at the end of it, 8.
With Rapture in the back there.
Originally, that was not a silent thing, because it was a 2-page sequence with a script, and it was Dragon and Ann Stevens, and she was sort of the attending nurse, and something's going on, and then he was like showing, oh, look what's happening, oh my god, my hand is totally growing back, and it was a big shocker thing, but there was dialogue there. And it just continuity wise, it didn't work. Reading over the Freak Force thing issue that came out around that time, you could kind of see where, oh, it couldn't have been her. She couldn't have seen this because she was having this other conversation with Phyllis or something, which kind of contradicted what I had done, and so I was sort of realizing, oh crap, I blew it. And so I had to make it a different sequence. And because I didn't want to have to send pages over to Chris Iliopoulos again and have them sent back, really, that it just came down to this has to be a silent page. And there's just no two ways about it. And there's been a number of different times where things have come up and have become silent because I'm out of time here, folks. And sending stuff out and getting it back just doesn't work.
I always picture that you have some giant dry erase board in your office or something where you have like all these characters connected in some kind of graph or chart to help you keep order of what's going on and who's interacting with who. How do you keep that all together?
No, I am so untogether. It is frightening how.
You just email Gavin and
kind of like when some fan actually gets into my realm and is in here and kind of looks and sees the way I work and is talking. It's really, I think, disillusional. Oh my god, you really are making up this crap as it goes along. And when it works out, it's just. It's as though it's magic, and people are like, I can't believe that you didn't have this whole thing in mind and have it all figured out, because all the pieces dovetail together so beautifully. It's as though you've orchestrated this thing, and it's just flying by the seat of my pants, and it just happened to work out really, really well. Often. And it's just this kind of magic that has occurred.
I mean, in a way, it kind of mimics real life. I mean, things just happen,
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the idea of the book just in general, is it's not let's tell stories in the way that stories are traditionally told, beginnings, middle, ends, blah, blah, blah. But it's just, this is somebody's life, and we're watching it unfold and seeing where the current takes things.
Yeah.
I like it. Works for me. I don't, clearly it doesn't work for everybody, or else it'd be selling millions of copies, but I'm having a hell of a time doing it.
Well, I mean, I think it definitely shows. Going back to, the hardcover, I was looking at the comic book resources page with the solicitation. Is that going to be the final cover?
No,
Okay.
It isn't. It actually, that was just, really I think what it come down to is they were looking for a big book, and I know that we had been talking about it back and forth with the guys at Image, and they kind of came to me and said, we've got this slot, this would really be a good month to have this thing out. Can you write a citation copy and put together a cover? And it was like, okay. And it's going to be very different from that. It's not going to be formatted to look the same as the Invincible ones, and we probably won't have a dust cover on it.
Yay!
Awesome.
I'm
Yes.
not a big fan of those.
Yeah.
I really like. There was a couple of books that came out through various publishers that I just kind of like the design of. And one was this Blazing Combat book that came out from Fantagraphics Book, and I just it has a nice aesthetic to it. And I kind of was looking at that and going, maybe we could find some way of doing something a little more designy, a little more interesting, and just just cool and have its own kind of weird vibe. I kind of like that Fantagraphics kind of vibe to stuff, and it'll probably be more like that and less superhero. You know? Who
did the, was it Fantagraphics that did the Ditko collections that just came out? Who did those? I like those hardcover collections. No dust jacket. They're pretty. Yeah,
just something that catches your eye and is just kind of cool looking.
I hate every time I read one of my hardcover collections, I gotta take the dust jacket off. I don't like to see them get all banged up because then I just get depressed. It's like, I'm just a freak about it.
I take them off and it always ends up that I've got like 2 or 3 books where I've taken them off and then I'll set them someplace and then
you crush them with something.
Yeah, I'll crush them so that they aren't cool looking dust jackets anymore. In fact, I have a stack over here of 3 dust jackets. They're all screwed up because I put them in a stack.
I have my Invincible Ultimate collections right here, and none of them have their dust jackets on them.
Yeah. I like that. I like the Godland ones too, and I know a lot of people brought that up on Twitter, saying go the Godland way with the Celestial editions. Those things are beautiful. I like the size. I like everything about them.
Yeah, they just have these big images on the cover. It's just no text needed on the front cover. It's just a big image. It looks awesome. Iboga cutting the world in half or whatever it is. Really nice graphic design. Really just making something that looks cool on its own and not necessarily looks like, oh, this is a comic collection. Here's all the floating heads. Here's the logo at the top, etc.
Okay, we all agree here. We're good. Okay. Moving on.
Are you gonna add the images from like the tip-in sheets from the old hardcovers and really
maybe. It could
those are the most offensive things ever.
Well, those also mostly came later. The first few in the first books are just they're pretty unoffensive, and they're just like, oh, this is innocuous. It's dragging and walking around. So, but as they go, they get pretty good.
And pissing on people. It's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, there was that one. That was but that would be in a second or third book. I haven't mathed it all out yet as to where all my breaks are, but
you gotta use at least the one from the Savage World collection of Commandy. That's perfect.
No, that one's good. The one of Dragon getting a blowjob on the cross is good.
That's my favourite one.
The one with he's ripped Overlord's head off and is just pissing on him.
That one's good. There's one with using Jennifer and Rapture fighting and Dragon.
Yeah, one of the newer ones, Worlds at War, I think. And then one, I think, has got Dragon on the shitter.
Yeah, there was that. See, I didn't know if we said those words on podcast, but I guess we can do whatever we want here, right?
We can say whatever.
Yeah, right. Shit. There you go.
Like the HBO of podcasts.
Woohoo!
So I was thinking that the cover that was on the solicit today, even if issue 0 is not in the collection, it's pretty good. The image being indicative of the fact that, like, the very first thing you see is him in the burning field. Yeah.
I agree, which is why I used it, even though it wouldn't be issue 0 at all.
Right.
But it's like the coming out of the fire thing. It's like that. No, that works well for that initial thing.
And issue 0 is not going to be in this first collection?
It absolutely will not.
Good.
Do you plan on putting it in any collection, or you just want that standalone?
It would be in the collection in which it ran in the book. So with issue 150, I think, once we get to that point, which is fairly late in the game, but that's kind of when it becomes relevant.
Yeah, no, I it's a good idea because you don't want to let the cat out of the bag for people who have no idea of, the comic and.
Yeah, I mean, one of the regrets in the book, just in general, in writing it, is that I didn't really play up the mystery that much after a time. It just sort of became like, whatever. Mm-hmm. And so in a way, once it's revealed, it's not as much of a reveal in a weird kind of way, just because it's like, oh yeah, and then this happened. Oh, what do you know?
I think
whereas if it was really been like bugging him the whole time, and then he found out, it would be like, oh, holy crap.
Yeah, it's like you didn't hear anything about it, and then there was like a page in like issue 40-something where kind of Frank goes and sees some wacky scientist for a page, and the scientist is like, well, I think he's a UFO, and Frank just kind of blows him off, and it's like, whatever, and then you don't hear anything about it again for a while. And
was that because, did you step away from that because you weren't actually planning on revealing it until you came to the time to do the Image anniversary hardcover, and you were like, well, I got to do something special for this?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there was no point of building up a mystery that I was never going to resolve in any kind of. It would just be like, I mean, really just teasing people all the damn time, and it's like, all right, we played some of those things early on a little bit. Let's just walk away from this one. But then once the cat was out of the bag, and then people were, all over the message boards about it, and it was like, yeah, you know what, the average guy isn't going to be able to avoid this forever. Eventually he's going to stumble on this.
Yeah.
Let's just start using it in the book.
Are you glad that you released it? The origin?
Kind of. I kind of am. I mean, it's gotten some cool stories out of it. The whole thing has lasted way longer than I ever thought it would. So in a sense, I kind of end up doing some of these things just because I'm like, well, what the hell else am I going to do? Right. I mean, the whole Vanguard thing that I'm doing now is, just like, he's been hanging out here in space for 20 years. That's a long goddamn time. And for people who've been reading it since it was in Megaton, it's been 30 years. And it's like, can we pay this thing off? But, I mean, the idea with Vanguard was always that this is the farthest away from this war, and there's no reason that this war would ever get here. And that was kind of the whole gig, was that it never would come to Earth, that there would be this battle, and it would be resolved, and that would be the end of it. And so to have it come to Earth all the way across the galaxy is kind of ridiculous, because it's so far away, and Vanguard is so remote. There's really no reason that they would do that. They would be spread so thin across the entire galaxy that they would be down to like 6 guys by the time they got here, and it kind of doesn't make any sense, but whatever, we're getting to it.
Well, you tied it in with them like following Vanguard's sister, and it seems like a good idea to, take that next step that you were just talking about. Like, he's been on the outpost Earth for 20 years, 30 years, and it's kind of the thing that everybody's always looked forward to. Is I've always remembered the pages in Megaton when he's describing the Tyrus Combine, and you see all of the different alien races, and just hoping that at some point there would be some kind of cool war or battle, or even if it was a smaller story, just that it would pay off somewhere.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really. I don't think anybody's going to mind that they're at the other end of the universe. Vanguard's
also a weird one in that, like the Deadly Duo, he really wasn't set up to age. Right. And it's like the Deadly Duo, once the Kid Avenger isn't a kid, it kind of ruins that whole dynamic that those two characters have. And kind of Vanguard was the same way. It just seems weird to have Vanguard be like a 40-year-old guy. He really seems like he should be in his 20s, and he should be dating somebody who's young, and that there's that kind of youthful relationship of a girl on Earth and this guy up in space. And at this point it was like, God, we can't really keep dodging this forever. So let's just pay this off and then do something with it, to finally take the next step and go somewhere with it.
I think Vanguard, to me, when you go back and read the Megaton issues, he always seemed like he was like a Superman, but that actually looked like an alien. I mean, he's got the same colors.
Oh, yeah.
That watches over Earth.
That was the whole, I mean, we even had a miniseries called Strange Visitors, which is,
right.
And even when he takes his mask off, and it's like, oh, he's got blue hair.
Yeah, he's got like the split curl.
He's a white guy with blue hair. He's got blue eyes and blue hair, and I'm dating another white guy. It's like, okay, yeah, except he's literally white. He's not. and again, which is why in his first issue he fought Supreme, because it's like here's another Superman guy fighting a Superman guy.
Right. Yeah. And I got to tell you, Gary and Frank have been killing it on the backup stories. They've been so enjoyable. Oh. I know I've heard a lot on the forums, and everyone seems to love them. But
it's nice to have a backup where people are kind of getting into it a little more. I think the Twisted stories were kind of fun, but because they weren't canon and they weren't really part of regular continuity, that they could be dismissed a lot easier.
Yeah, but I also thought it also brought in a whole new crowd that never really might have paid attention to Dragon, but there was a lot of chatter and reviews and talks of the Twisted Dragon collection, and it was also pretty cool to see some of these guys' takes on your villains and stuff and make them real cartoony, but it really put a spotlight on your character designs, I think.
Oh, cool.
And I think, a lot of people realize how awesome the designs are when you look at it. At least I do. I mean, I think they're just neat as hell.
No, I love the Twisted Funnies, too.
I'm not going to argue with you.
And I think you could actually say, this is really geeky, but I think you could really actually say that it is in continuity if you just take Joe Keating's story and you have his montage where he goes to these different realities. Just make that the framing sequence for all of the Twisted Funnies.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, there's all these different universes where things are totally different. That's fine. Then you can fit it in. If for the continuity nerds out there, that's how I look at it, because I really, really, really enjoyed it. And I especially enjoyed the last story. I thought that was the perfect capper to it.
Nice.
Yeah. On the other end, it is good to get backups that are in continuity too. To see Vanguard again and, the Deadly Duo or Star or whoever, because there's only so much that you can put in your book in the main story. It's good to get the spotlight on your other characters, and it's good to get, fan favorite artists and writers to help out. I think a lot of the fans enjoy that as well.
Agreed. There'll be more. There'll be other stuff coming up. There are guys who are like, I want to be part of this, so it'll be fun.
Cool.
I need to say something. I think Gavin is like your biggest fan, and I don't know anyone else. He's got the largest collection of your original art that I know of. He does the interviews with you monthly. I haven't heard peep from him the whole time. Are you still there, Gavin?
I'm still here, yeah. My phone keeps cutting out, so I'm listening.
Do you have any questions?
If I start speaking, it'll cut off.
The thing with Gavin is he gets to ask me questions every week.
Yeah,
every issue that comes out. So I think he's kind of like, all right, I'm tapped.
Yeah.
I do, really.
What is, going back to the hardcover again, 1 through 7, is that the same as your first, the Baptism of Fire? Baptism of Fire has got the miniseries in it, right? This is not going to
the first one. The first one is the miniseries. which was expanded and then later turned into 5 issues with a 99-cent.
Right.
The Dragon. And so that's what the miniseries will be. It'll be that 5-issue thing. And then the first trade after that, Force to be Reckoned With, was 6 issues. So this will be an issue beyond that. So this really ends with the battle with Overlord, the first battle. So we end this book with essentially Dragon dead.
Nice.
Playing that one again.
I gotta tell you, when you read the solicitation, your eyes go over real fast, and it says collects the 5-issue miniseries, but I just saw Savage Dragon 1 through 7, and I'm like, how come there's so few issues in it?
So yeah, it's the 5 plus the 7, so it ends up being 12 issues worth of stuff, and that's what
Plus
it'll
mini.
be from that point on. Is it'll be 12 issues.
That's about the size of the Invincible collections. They
Yeah,
go
Invincible,
like 11 to 12 or so.
Those are generally 12. It depends on the book. There's some guys are doing 10 in every book, and I've just got so many issues that if I start doing just 10, then and I just want to chew through the material really as quickly as we can, get as many in there, but not have it be so unwieldy, because some of those books where they're putting in 24 issues of a run, you just you can't open the thing up.
Yeah.
Without it just kind of falling apart.
Right.
Double page spreads don't work out real well. Or,
Yeah.
Various other things.
Yeah, I mean, I've bought in some of the Marvel omnibuses, like the Fantastic Four, and it's like, I don't know if I really want to open this up, and like, it looks so pretty. Do I want to destroy it by like,
Well, at least then they weren't doing that many double page spreads in those things.
Yeah.
It kind of works out okay. The stuff there aren't full bleeds.
Right.
Dragon, there's a lot of full bleeds, and you lose stuff in the spine when you're things get cut off and things look weird.
I think that was when we last did our last Savage FINcast episode. Who had the trade? We were going through it, and someone opened up the trade, and like all their pages fell out.
That was Jim, because he had the original first run.
I don't know what was going on there. But I think they should have used proper glue instead of like oatmeal or whatever the hell.
Yeah,
didn't work at all.
Were those books being sent to Korea or something?
Yeah, it was. I think it was Canada actually, the same place that was doing our regular comics. But for whatever reason, they just didn't use proper glue. They just had somebody with really sticky hands rub things or something. I don't know what the deal was, but
I want real glue made out of horses.
Yeah, real horses, 100% horse in this. So, in any case, these books they'll be sewn together with iron, and they just won't fall apart.
You think? How regularly are you going to be putting these out?
I would like to do at least 2 volumes a year. If we could do 3, that would be great. I'd like to be able to have it so that they weren't a million years behind. I mean, we're starting, it'll be 20 years behind, so if we can do a couple a year, then it'll be like, oh, we're only 16 years behind. Oh, we're only 14 years behind, and eventually it'll be where I can only do a book a year, which would be great.
I think the biggest complaint for new readers is that there's, you're missing a whole bunch of collections right towards your volume 15, Savage World.
Yep, that's a problem.
Yeah.
We'll eventually address that problem. But it's kind of a mess. It just is. They're early books, the design varies from book to book. It's kind of all over the place, and logos keep changing, and spines look different, and so it's like, okay, are we going to go back and reprint the other ones so that they all match and all look nice in a row, or what the hell do we do here?
No, make each volume of the Ultimate Collection look different to drive people insane.
Yeah,
you know what?
But as long as it's got like good design, it doesn't matter. But I do think that's one of the things that everybody complains about all the time. But I'll laugh. But everybody else will be pissed off.
You know what drives me crazy is like the hardcovers with the little yellow numbers on the bottom, and they're not exactly the same size. And I look at that and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, they move up and down.
Whose idea was it to make every Image collection have those weird, like, yellow numbers stick out? And...
It was Eric Stevenson. Just gonna flat out point my finger at it. Just go, you know what, man? I hated those things. But there were people who loved them, you know?
No.
And it was... You know, Marvel's got this trade dress thing, and it stands out, and it's uniform, and it's on all the different books, and it's always this red and white thing. What can we do that we could put on our books that would stand out? And they tried all sorts of different things, and it was like, this yellow one really does it.
No.
And all the Image books were supposed to be that way, and somebody eventually balked. Somebody eventually was like, you know what? If this has to go in my book, it's so goddamn ugly. I will take my book elsewhere rather than have this be on. And it was like, all right, you don't have to do it. And at that point, you know, the dam had broken, and everybody just was like, okay, he doesn't have to do it.
I mean, imagine the Madman Gargantua or the Godland books or the, Elephant Men books with those big yellow things. That would drive me crazy. I'm so glad someone bucked that trend.
Yeah, no, thank you. It wasn't me, but somebody had the balls to do it.
Company man.
I am. I mean, I do stupid stuff just because I think it's good for the company or good for whatever, you know.
You did get away from numbering your trades, though, huh? On the new one.
Yeah, I did. I thought there being another huge gap would be a bad news just to go, okay, this is trade 30. And I was like, it's just
confusing too. Like when the push to go, here's Back in Blue, it's a great jumping on point. It's, volume 34. And people go, what?
Yeah, no one wants to hear that. They're like, I don't want to have to read.
The other thing we could have done would be, okay, Back in Blue, it's number 1.
Yeah,
and then
I don't like that either, though.
And it seemed like a good idea at the time, but now that there are 6 new trades, now it becomes, wait a minute, what order do these go in?
Yeah.
I have to look at the back cover to see what the covers are that are on here and putting them all together. Oh, man.
You can't please everyone.
I can't please everyone. And I think if you try to please everyone, you don't please everyone. So you just try and do the best you can,
I had another question. It's not Savage Dragon related, but the Image Expo.
Yes.
It looks pretty damn cool. Why don't you bring one over to the East Coast too?
I would like to. What you need to do is you need to have the New York Con just decide that they're going to Florida, and then there'll be that void created, and we can jump right in there and do that. That's kind of what happened with this, where it was like, okay, you mean we don't have a con here at all? Anything? Okay, screw that. We'll do a con.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there was that void. I think that you'll find next year that we'll probably be traveling a bit, just because 20th anniversary and all. It would not be at all surprising to have us all be in a New York show or something like that.
So, since all of you guys are going to be together for 3 days, Image United.
I think what we'd like to do is have a panel where that's all we do. We just sit there and work on Image United.
I answer questions or anything. You guys are all just sitting there silently drawing.
Okay, it's happening, right?
It's funny because before we knew we were going to have you on the podcast today, we were going to talk about our favorite issues, and Gavin's favorite one, the one he picked, was issue 139, and I was flipping through it before we came on, and I'm looking at the back cover, and it's like Image United 2009. I'm like, God, it's already been, this was printed in October 2008, and there's like an ad for Image United. I can't believe how fast time flies.
Oh, I know. You know what's really going to be weird is when you see the next issue of Image United and you see Malcolm in it. Because you're going to go,
really?
He's still a fucking little kid. What the hell? He's got like skinny ass arms and he's got a big head and he's way shorter than his dad and all that stuff. And Angel's still wearing that shitty homemade costume that she had with the red goggles and stuff. And it's like, wow, these guys really look weird and different. What's going on here?
So I know you get this asked all the time, but where are we at this point with Image United? I know you I think you've hinted that you want to hold on to it till it's complete and then release them, or?
Well, there are pages that are done, and there are pages that I don't know where the hell they even are.
Really?
I mean, I've never seen a plot for issue 6, so I don't know how it ends. I haven't laid out issue 6 yet. I'm waiting for that one. And I think a lot of it is various guys going, well, I'm not going to blink if this guy's not going to blink.
Oh, geez.
That's just, come on, guys. Somebody's got to get rolling on this. Todd was the holdup on issue 3. So with issue 4, he just plowed through it. So all Todd's stuff is done pretty much in issue 4. So people, I think, because nobody's outright saying what the problem is, keep going, oh, that bastard McFarlane. It's like, no, it's actually not. He's not the one to blame, at least on issue 4. The pages that are done are, there's a couple pages that are completely me. Those pages, done. And there's a couple pages that are just me and Todd, also done.
And I know that the interlude was kind of scrapped. Was there any work done on that? Are there pages floating around of?
No, I don't think there was even a plot written. I don't know if that really got started. I think it was just, this is so late and this is going to be, a further embarrassment. So why even go there?
So have you guys talked about anything about working on it at the expo since you're all together? Has there been any mention of?
There's been some. Mostly been like, hey guys, wouldn't it be funny if kind of thing, and hopefully it actually something will happen there because something should happen and something needs to happen. But it's tough, It's like a shark. It once it stops moving, it's dead, And it's sort of like somehow this stopped moving. There stopped being progress being made on it. But every now and then something where like, hey, some pages come in. Wills did a bunch of stuff, so cool.
It makes me laugh because I feel like every time you try to do something as a company, like you're always gung-ho, Eric, like, all right, take Image 0 with your Debbie story, and you kind of got screwed with that, you put it out there. You take the 10th anniversary hardcover where you put out your origin story, and that took forever to come out, and you kind of got screwed on that because, you were done. Image United, it's like every time you try to do something as a company, I guess what I'm trying to say is, have you learned your lesson?
Probably not. I do the same thing, I do keep running into the same wall again and again and again, and I guess that's I just don't learn my lesson. I keep thinking, all for one for all. Let's make this,
It's got to be one of the problems inherent with it being that you just have to take the bad with the good in the sense that Image is like a co-op and not, you can't mandate something because everybody else has their own independent companies that they're running and, like Todd's doing toys or movies or whatever all day. And it's not like you can say to him, you have to get this done. You can't order him. So
you can't bring in a replacement artist,
and you shouldn't be able to. It's just one of the things that comes with the way that Image is set up. It seems like.
Well, I kind of wish that I could just at some point go, okay, guys, if this isn't going to get finished, send everything back to me, and I'll finish it. It'll at least be able to go, give closure to the people who actually are reading it and care.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's the worst part about it is just leaving it hanging for those people who are involved in the story in some way.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing that sucks, because I always stick up for Image in my comic shop, the titles are awesome, and people just like to harp on the same old Image is always late, blah, blah, and it's like, that's really not the case most of the time anymore, and people just don't even give it a try. It's just a stigma that just it really, really pisses me off. And then you finally get them convinced, and then they point to it like something like Image United or the hardcover or something, They're just waiting to point to one thing.
Yeah, I think that's a part of the problem of trying to articulate to people that there's a difference between Image and other companies, because Image isn't really like a brand in the same way. They can't make those top-down mandates that everybody has to follow. It's like saying Image Comics is... If you were to say Image Comics are always late, that's basically like saying independent comics are always late. It's not true, but it's true some of the time. It's true with some creators because... maybe they have other obligations they have to meet, or maybe they're just really slow at drawing, or whatever the case may be. But it's kind of meaningless to say all Image books do blank, because it's like saying all independent books do blank.
Yeah, they do. We're still all over the place.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not, we don't do one kind of book. We don't do really kind of anything. It's just all over the map.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Which is a good thing. I mean, I think ultimately, like I said, I think you gotta take the bad with the good. There's a thread on the forums right now about, Image versus Marvel or DC or whatever, and it's so weird to me to think of Image as a brand in that way, because it's so not. It's not like, you can't categorize the entire line of books in any way, because there's no editorial mandate that says, oh, we're going to do this big event and it's going to cross over into everything. And so,
thank God.
That's where I draw the line.
Yeah.
We're going to do a big company-wide crossover. How about this? I'll do mine first, and then screw the rest of you guys. I'll just leave it to you, and if it never finishes, oh well. But at least I'm not going to be sitting there going, I'm doing part 15. Great. This is never.
Yeah. But you can't be. It's not like the situation where you have, a creator of the caliber of like Rick Remender doing a run on a book, and then he has to include something to, whatever the event is going on in Schism or X-Men or whatever it is, just because it's part of what the company is doing.
I think you remember a good example of that was like Walt Simonson's run on Orion, and then there was like some like Joker crossover, and now Joker all of a sudden has to appear in one issue, and it just like totally pulls you out of it, and it's like, what the hell, really?
Yeah.
I've been at those companies when there have been those crossovers. I've participated in those.
Yeah.
That's been fun.
I remember the Nuff Said crossover during your Defenders run.
Thing. I was on Spider-Man when they did that whole villain shuffling thing, which, I mean, just as a story didn't make any damn bit of sense. It was like, the heroes are totally going to be thrown off because they've never fought these villains before. And it's like, well, yeah, but those villains have never fought those heroes either, so they're also completely ill-equipped to deal with them.
Yeah.
Well, that was a well-thought-through scheme.
So you have anything coming up in Dragon for the 20th anniversary? You have any special plans, or?
I should, huh?
You should. I'm thinking you should probably have Dragon run for president or something like that.
Oh, God, that sounds like the worst idea ever. Avoid that like the plague. Yeah, I think getting into any more politics would just be bad news all around. Plus, there's a lot of times where I just go, I kind of felt like I've done that, and I don't really want to tread that again. Sort of like why I haven't done a silent issue of Savage Dragon, in that I did a silent issue of the Defenders, and I kind of feel like I've done that.
Yeah.
I feel like, oh, this will be something new and fresh. And it just seems like it'll be something that I've done before.
Yeah.
That's no fun.
That was a really good issue of the Defenders, though.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Hulk. Was he wearing like bunny slippers and PJs?
Yeah, they put him in clown pants or something.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, here we go.
Good times.
So you haven't really thought anything out for a 20th?
No, I barely thought about anything.
I think
just sort of like, if I could get through this alien invasion, I don't even know. It's like I was asked to write the solicitation copy for the issue after that, and I'm sitting there going, crap, what do I do here? I know I need to resolve the Overlord stuff here pretty quick, so I'll probably be doing that as soon as I can afterward, but I don't really have a lot of long-range plans at this point. Wish I did. I wish Dragon were in the same state that Supreme is in. Supreme to me is just, that's the way to do comics. You sit down with blank pieces of paper, you fill them, and then months later you write solicitation copy based on those pages that you've done already. It's already done, you know? So it's not like you're sitting there going, what am I going to want to draw 6 months from now?
And you wouldn't be as close to, like, the turnaround time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's always just panic.
Right. You can always do what Kirkman does and just put, like, one sentence down.
Yeah, I've done that, too, where you just get the end.
Making each one, like, really overly dramatic, so after, like, 2 or 3, nobody takes you seriously anymore.
Yeah,
everything
Dragon gets in a knockout, drag-out brawl.
Yeah, this one, the issue to end all issues. What does that even mean?
The issue of issues.
Comes with our highest possible recommendation.
Yes. That should be the entirety of it.
All new, all different.
It'll be just,
I think
burger eating action.
I think we need a Treasury edition size special for the 20th anniversary. What do you say?
Herculean size.
There is something like that in the works.
Oh.
Our page is done, and I am one of the guys holding things up. Let me just put it that way. Because there is something that's been in the works for a while, and there are a number of guys who are done and have done some beautiful stuff, and God damn it, I'm not one of them yet, and I should be.
Could this be more McSweeney's with like a dragon hand the size of a house this time?
Kind of the idea with this one was that it would be all new characters. It wouldn't be stuff that had been done before at all. So it'll be the debut of a number of new characters. Cool. Might not be that Savage Dragon related. I had kind of a number of ideas that I wanted to do with it, and I've sort of been wrestling with which one of these I want to do, and I may end up just going, I'll do all of them and do a couple different ones. But we'll see. I know Bruce Timm's done with his story, and it's really great. And so it's super intimidating because you look at it and go, God damn it. But he did it a long time ago. In fact, he makes a cameo in it, and I make a cameo in it, and I have hair. That's how long ago it was.
Oh. That's got to be at least 5 years ago.
Oh, it's a while. Yeah.
Yeah, his stuff. You can just get mad looking at it for 2 seconds because he's so goddamn good.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, there's a few guys like that, and you just go, oh man, why? But, he's not doing monthly comics either, and he's certainly not doing 2 monthly comics, so.
Yeah, him, Dave Johnson, we gotta get them doing monthly comics.
I know.
They make too much money doing showbiz,
Yeah, they got other stuff going on. I mean, Dave's supposed to be in here too, and Dave's the other one who's kind of not getting it done as quickly as you want. I actually told Dave, I'll do thumbnails for you, and then I haven't. So.
Have you seen Dave Johnson's new blog?
I have not.
It's incredible. I think you would love it. He takes comic book covers and he critiques them, and he's not afraid to say it as it is. Oh, wow. And it's pretty awesome, and he gets guys riled up.
Well, and who better to do it, because he's one of the only people in the industry that's doing any design on covers. You know, his covers are brilliant, and I think every time he's nominated for Best Cover Artist and he doesn't win, it's a miscarriage of comic justice. Like, I mean, I know he's always up against other insanely talented people like Mike Mignola and James Jean, but I think he's the best. I think he's the best cover artist in the industry today. He does real design, and he works these incredible images. I can't gush enough about that stuff. It's awesome. Could look at it all day.
Nice. Yeah, I need to. Where is this? Where should I be looking for this thing?
I don't know. I can't remember the name. He probably has it on his Twitter or something like that. I looked at it. I saw it. He just started it like last month.
Yeah, one of these days. You can send me an email.
I will. It's great. I'll send you an email or a Twitter message or something. But I know he's got. He picks on a few big guys, and it's kind of funny. Like, you don't ever see comic creators kind of judging others, but
yeah. Let's make that happen.
Well, it's just kind of my thing with the comic covers. A lot of them they suffer from being one of two things. They're like a pinup, so it's like, okay, that's a nice piece, but it doesn't really necessarily have to be a comic book cover. It could just be a poster or some kind of cheesecake shot or something. Or worse than that, it's like a movie poster where it's just all of the heads floating. And that's about the most boring thing in the world. And it's there's all these classic movie posters of Hitchcock movies, or even really bad movies. If horror movies from the 50s had this, just incredible fun design sense, and really wanted to go, like, make people excited about what the thing was that they were going to go see, or in comics what they were going to go read. The way that Ed Hannigan, or the work that he did at Marvel, or the kind of design that Will Eisner would do on Spirit title pages, or the covers to EC Comics, or anything like that, where it really just makes you go, this looks fun, I want to read this, I think there's a severe lacking of that.
Agreed. On the other hand, I don't have time. He does these cool design things. It's like, you know what? That just doesn't flow right out. You actually have to think about it. You actually have to plan for it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, it's a lot easier when you're doing an image a month.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
An image, or a couple of them. When it's like, okay, you're doing 40 pages plus 2 covers and, whatever else. It just becomes, oh, crap.
Well, I don't think you've really suffered from a lot of the floating head syndrome.
No, not so far. But you know what? I'll get around to
it. Just as long as you draw them all on separate pieces of paper and then Photoshop them together so it looks compositionally like a total clusterfuck.
Okay. Yeah, I'll work on that.
Yeah.
Actually, I haven't done that many Supreme covers. I've done more Supreme interiors than covers at this point. And it just occurred to me, it's like, oh yeah, I didn't do a cover for issue 3 or 4. It's like, oops. Done the issues, but not the covers. I've got to get my act together.
Eric, I found Dave Johnson's blog. It's called Johnson Cover High Low. If you type that into Google, it says, this blog is a simple case of a man with an opinion. Yours might be different. Bottom line, if you're offended, get over it. You'll live another day. Well, maybe. And he just goes on, and it's like, it gets brutal, but, he also, when it's a good cover, he points it out, and it's pretty cool.
All right. I'll get over there today.
Cool.
Well, is there anything else you guys want to ask Eric or address with him while we still got him on the horn here?
What about the Free Comic Book Day? What are you going to be doing for that, if anything? I
have no idea. I haven't actually even officially been asked about it. So I'm just kind of, once that rolls around, it'll be, oh, you got to do something for this. Like, oh. Oops.
So do you know how many pages each person's getting?
I don't even know. I don't even know what the deal is with that. I just, okay.
Since it's the 20th anniversary, I imagine they'll probably ask.
Yeah.
It probably won't be just like an issue of some other book. They'll probably want to. Well, I mean, I know it won't be an issue of some other book because they have the teaser already. But
yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on with that. I mean, maybe they'll just go, okay, you've got so much Supreme done ahead of time. We'll just run 4 pages of, Supreme eating candy or whatever. And that's going to be an awesome issue.
Spoilers,
yeah, whatever. And they can just grab a 4-page sequence from any one of the later issues and just go, okay, here we go. Here's something you haven't seen and won't see for a while. Boom.
I know you said that you're doing a lot of work in coffee shops now. How is that working out for you? You have a lot of people kind of looking over your shoulder when you're trying to work?
Yeah, there is. There is a lot of that and the fair amount of... And then you gotta feel like you need to move on and okay, I'm gonna work in the library for a few days and kind of make it so that people who are expecting you to be at the other place are suddenly going, oh, he's not here. Maybe I shouldn't be showing up here every day, hoping that I can ask him some comical questions. But then you go, it's kind of amazing whenever you go anywhere that there's that life that this stuff had, and people will be like, oh yeah, I used to read that book or heard of that book or I watched that cartoon or whatever. It's weird. But I was in the lobby of a hotel and there was a wedding going on and people were getting married and they're getting pictures and all that stuff. And one of the guests happened by and he lost his shit. Just like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And he was like getting his girlfriend over and getting his picture taken. And I can't imagine that the groom and the bride are looking over and just giving me the dick eye. Like, what the hell, man? This is our special day. Your picture taken with some slob over there in a t-shirt. Like a homeless guy over here scrawling on a piece of paper. And oh well.
Do you get people asking for sketches at the coffee shop? And
No, I do not get that. People have not been like, hey, you're doing this for free. Get me a...
Yeah, right.
I haven't gotten that. So thank God for that. But there's definitely some, questions as to what's this all about. Oh, that's cool. That's pretty neat that you're out here doing this. But there are limitations in what you can do actually in a coffee shop. So there's a fair amount of stuff does end up coming home and getting worked on here because I can't do like a real extensive perspective stuff just because I don't have that kind of equipment with me where I can, long T-squares or whatever. So, I just kind of have to do what I can do when I'm there and whatever else. And at this point, the dinner bell has officially rung, so I need to go.
All right. Well, we appreciate you joining us, and thanks for your time.
Guys. Well, awesome. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, at some point we're going to have actually like prepared questions ahead of time when we know that you were going to come on. So thanks, man.
Well, that'd be okay too then.
Cool.
I'll talk to you later, guys.
All right, thanks a lot. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
And there you go. Erik Larsen was a surprise guest. We had no idea he was going to be on the show.
Until right before we started recording. Before we sign off, I got a couple quick, totally not dragon-related things I want to plug. First thing is a comic I've been lettering for about a year, but it hasn't been a year's worth of issues. The first issue was put together last year and then self-published, and then it was kind of shopped around. It's been picked up by an indie publisher called 215 Inc., and that is Footprints. Footprints is a cryptozoological noir story. It's kind of like a crime meets some supernatural elements. It's Bigfoot is a private eye, and his brother, the Yeti's been murdered, and he's got to gather together his old band of misfits like the Loch Ness Monster and the Jersey Devil and Chupacabra, and they've got to investigate what happened to his brother. And anyway, it's a fun book. There's 3 issues. Actually, I think the 3rd issue is just about to come out. and the trade is available through this month's previews. And I think the final order cutoff is actually like next week. So if you guys are at all interested, look up Footprints on through previews, or you can look it up at like Things from Another World, or any comics retailer can order it for you. It's pretty cool.
Cool.
And then the other thing, I'll be real fast. This is not even comic related, but if you guys all have iPhones or iPads or Androids, you should get a game called Wind Up Night. I know the guys that made it. They just put it out for the iOS. It's really fun. It's really hard. It's awesome. Wind Up Night. You guys should check it out.
Cool. And what are you working on now besides like the Footprints? I know you do a lot of lettering. I thought I heard you did some coloring on the Vanguard issue Vanguard.
I'm doing a lot of the flatting for Vanguard. Kind of just depending on the week, depending on how full our plates are with other stuff. And the way that it works is like, I think like most people in comics, we have day jobs, and we're not able to do this full time. And, David, the colorist, he's an architect, and so he's only able to do a little bit of work at a time. And so I do some of the flatting work, and we have some other friends, artists that we know that help us out from time to time with that. And then he goes in and does all of the pretty shades and shadows and all these weird color magicry that I don't understand how he does it. And I'm lettering a few things. At the moment, there's Solaria is always in progress. It's put on hold for a little while we do Vanguard, but we were working concurrently on it for a little while. And there's another book that I hope we're going to be announcing sometime soon with Frank, which is really, really fun, strange kind of thing, but it's really cool. Right now I'm lettering this indie superhero book that I just started, and I will announce it or whatever when I'm further along. It's just kind of standard superhero fare. But it's really, really well drawn, and it's fun. Yeah. Cool.
Gavin, you want to talk about anything that kind of holds you over to the next issue of Savage Dragon?
I generally either just reread a lot of Savage Dragon stuff, but at the moment I've been reading Supreme from the beginning, which is somewhat painful in places, but it's fun. But some of the artwork's quite shocking, and but I'm trying to put together information for an Extreme Wiki page.
Cool.
We're doing the Savage Dragon one, obviously. But,
right, and yours, for people that don't know, you've written pretty much 99% of the text for the Savage Dragon Wiki. Gavin and I have, I set up the page and I got it going, I formatted it, but Gavin's really the kind of brains behind all of it and feeding me all the information. And just real quick, the Savage Dragon Wiki, it's online, it's set up like a regular wiki, and it's got all sorts of, information on all of the Savage Dragon characters. I think almost every character, pretty much.
All the Erik Larsen characters, at least, yeah.
Exactly,
Eventually, everyone's going to be on there. But
Gavin's written summaries for all of the, ongoing issues and many of the miniseries. We're getting there for the miniseries. We don't quite have all of them on there, but I got to commend you for, I don't know how long over the years it took you to get all that information together, but it's pretty damn awesome.
A lot. Yeah, many, many hours. Well, it's the Extreme one that it's been set up already. I had started writing some stuff for it, but then my computer died, and I lost whatever I'd started. So it's just getting my arse into gear into actually restarting it again. Gradually, I'm getting there. I don't think it'll be as detailed as the Savage Dragon one, at least not my stuff, because a lot of it I just don't care about. But
right,
the Supreme stuff definitely, because if nothing else, it'll help out Erik. So that's the goal.
Cool.
Yeah, I have almost a complete run of that. I'm tracking down the last couple issues because I'm going to do the same thing that you're doing. I just want to read the full run, because I've read spots of Supreme, but like I've read some of the Moore stuff and some of the pre-Moore stuff, but I never really read it all the way through, and I just kind of want to do that. Well, I was actually planning on doing that just because of the Alan Moore stuff anyway, so with Erik taking over the book, it's a good time.
Well, I'm hoping that now that it's back at Image, that we'll actually get decent collections of the Moore stuff, because the stuff from Checker was not great.
No,
I mean, it's good because you could read the books, but it was just scans from the comics, I think.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't look good.
Especially if they're starting it right at like what, issue 60 something. You're just continuing
63.
on.
Yeah.
So I mean, they really need to get a collection. I have like the first 5 Supreme issues where, you know, it's whatever Liefeld. It wasn't Liefeld, I don't think. It was another artist.
Brian Murray, it was.
Yeah, Brian Murray.
Yeah, I have those issues, and I haven't read those since they came out. And I never read the Moore stuff. I just wasn't into it at the time, and I would love to go back to get myself prepped for Erik's run. So hopefully...
It's different, the Moore stuff. I mean, I know a lot of people have raved about how technically good it is, and, you know, the stories are a lot better, but it's different. It's just very much a Silver Age Superman story, which is good if you like that, but, I mean, I did like the original Liefeld Supreme just killing things.
Yeah.
I loved that. Then the whole ego thing.
Yeah.
Where it's just another cookie cutter superhero, another Superman mold. It's like, I'd just read Superman if I was that bothered.
Really? Yeah.
But it's good. But hopefully, well, the idea with Erik's run is it's a mixture of both. So,
yeah.
And I have seen some of the pencils for it, and it does look insane. So.
Well, and that's one of the things that, like, I always thought was funny, that for all the shit that Rob gets pitched, his version of Supreme was the more original of the two. Like, it was the more interesting character because it was a new take on that kind of character. And
I think that's one of the reasons I like Solar Man so much from Savage Dragon, because it was
me too. Yeah,
pretty much just Supreme, but without the ego.
Yeah.
But he was still a brutal killing machine.
Right.
And Gary wrote some of those issues too. I need to get like the last 1 or 2 of the ones that he wrote, because
I think I'm missing a couple of his.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Of Supreme?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Is there anything else you want to talk about that you're into right now, or?
Kirby trades or the hardcovers.
Yeah, they're great.
The ones from DC, they're brilliant, and also the Titan ones, which Simon and Kirby,
gorgeous.
They're amazing.
It's definitely a good time to be into Kirby, because the past 2 or 3 years, just these great hardcovers have been coming out, and they've been done right. I think DC did an awesome job, and has been doing an awesome job with all the Kirby collections, just making them look all uniform, using the newspaper stock.
Yeah.
They're great. I'm glad, I was so worried that they weren't going to redo Commandy, because they already gave it the hardcover treatment, and
the archive
that
stuff
back out. It's good times.
Good times.
It is.
I just wanted to talk about maybe 1 or 2 things. I don't know if you guys pick up Haunt.
Yeah.
Or picked up the newest issue with the new team.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I love me some Joe Casey, and I had never seen Nathan Fox's work in anything else. I've seen it in the previews, and once I saw it in the previews, I was like, hot damn, this is awesome. It's fluid, the action jumps out right at you. I love it. And it seems, reading the first issue, there's a lot going on in some of these panels, and sometimes it's a little hard to make out what's going on. But the coloring, everything is amazing. And the writing so far, it's got a real spooky vibe with this secret church and whatever. But it's pretty neat.
I think Casey said he wanted to make this. He wanted to really bring the horror back to the idea of this character in the book, and I'm totally behind that. Right.
I mean, even different ways of doing things, different ways of showing the brother Kurt as a ghost and stuff, and it's just it's neat. It really is. I recommend it to anyone that maybe didn't try Haunt because maybe they're not a fan of, whatever, McFarlane or Capullo or whatever, whatever the case is, to if they didn't like the art before, maybe just try it now because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks like a totally different book. It looks like a Joe Casey book, and I think it reads like one too, like it's his own, like it's a creator-owned character almost of his. And
Joe Casey has got that writing style too, where you could read like 3 different scripts and you could pick out the Joe Casey one without, with no problem.
Yeah, I like it.
It's so off the wall, but really cool. Yeah. So that, and I did pick up the Milk and Cheese hardcover collection just because it was only $20 and it's Milk and Cheese,
Yeah. Who put that out?
That was Dark Horse.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a good cheap hardcover, and it's kind of a good book to read while you're on the shitter or whatever, because they're like little 1 or 2 story things going on, and you can just, I don't know, it's just a good coffee table book. You're bored, just pick it up, read a few, put it back down, and it's funny, lots of violence, and I don't know.
I love Evan Dorkin. Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything all in one, and like I said, it just, you don't have to devote too much time to it. You can pick it up, read a few, put it back down, and then when you feel like it again, read a couple more. So, I'm enjoying that. I'm waiting for the next issue of Savage Dragon patiently.
I think we're going to see that real soon.
Yeah. One last thing I just wanted to talk about. Another Joe Casey book that I picked up was the Doc Bazaar MD. Did any of you guys pick that up or see that?
I saw the solicit for it. Is it cool?
It's okay. I like the Charlton Ball a lot because it was very Kirby-esque. Mm-hmm. And I like Andy Sariano's art. It's like a mix between, that cartoon style and Kirby style. But the Charlton Ball series, and I don't know if you guys read that.
Yeah.
That was cool just because, like I said, there was a lot of different Kirby dynamics going on. It looked like these kind of crazy different Kirby designs. This, it's okay. It's. I think they didn't want to go for putting out single issues in a miniseries. They just wanted to get it out as like a single volume hardcover. But it's only half of it is about the comic, and the other half is more just like sketches and pinups. And it's a $18 hardcover, which, I'm not that sold on buying hardcovers just without knowing anything first about the characters or anything. I gave it a shot because I like both of the creators. Wasn't particularly impressed this time, but, you can't win them all.
Yeah.
But I will definitely check out anything that Andy Siriano draws because I think he's doing something that, isn't really been done much by other guys. Just, he's got that kind of cartoony style, but it's style all his own, and I'm an admirer of his. And of course, Joe Casey has proven himself time and time again.
Yeah.
So hey, it was a miss this time. But that's about it.
Well, cool. It's good chatting with you guys.
Yeah, it was good to finally hear your voice, Gavin.
Yep. That's good.
Yeah, so I think our next episode will come out shortly after the next issue of Savage Dragon, which is 177, right?
Yep.
The Osama bin Laden cover. So looking forward to that.
Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah.
So with that and the holidays around the corner, we'll probably have our next episode maybe the first or second week of January.
Yeah.
Magical.
And then with the holiday shipping, it may play hell with the next issue's schedule too, but I think 178 is going to be out really quickly here because it's like Erik said, he sent his stuff off to Tom, and we're working on Vanguard this week, and we're trying to get it done ahead of time before the holidays, so. Cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Excellent.
Well, thanks. For the listeners, in between our Savage FINcast podcast, if you want any news on what's going on in the world of Erik Larsen and Savage Dragon, check out dragonfan.net. Also check out the Dragon Fan wiki for, any information on the issues and you want to catch up. But
and for show notes and pictures and links and stuff for the podcast, you can always go to the podcast website, which is fincast.guttertrash.net.
Yep. Good. Cool. Well, till next time, it was a pleasure talking to you guys.
You too. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Right.